For every complex problem there is an answer that is clear, simple, and wrong. Every normal man must be tempted, at times, to spit on his hands, hoist the black flag, and begin slitting throats. The whole aim of practical politics is to keep the populace alarmed, and hence clamorous to be led to safety, by menacing it with an endless series of hobgoblins, all of them imaginary. Love is like war, easy to begin but very hard to stop. Democracy is the art and science of running the circus from the monkey cage. Every election is a sort of advance auction sale of stolen goods. The urge to save humanity is almost always a false front for the urge to rule. Nobody ever went broke underestimating the taste of the American public. There is always an easy solution to every problem, neat, plausible, and wrong. The most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out, without regard to the prevailing superstitions and taboos. Almost inevitably he comes to the conclusion that the government he lives under is dishonest, insane, intolerable. In this world of sin and sorrow there is always something to be thankful for. As for me, I rejoice that I am not a Republican. God is a comedian, playing to an audience too afraid to laugh. Puritanism, the haunting fear that someone, somewhere, may be happy. Marriage is a wonderful institution, but who would want to live in an institution? Wealth, any income that is at least $100 more a year than the income of one's wife's sister's husband. Injustice is relatively easy to bear, what stings is justice. It is even harder for the average ape to believe that he is descended from man. A judge is a law student who marks his own examination papers. Legend, a lie that has attained the dignity of age. It is inaccurate to say that I hate everything. I am strongly in favor of common sense, common honesty, and common decency. This makes me forever ineligible for public office. The one permanent emotion of the inferior man is fear. Fear of the unknown, the complex, the inexplicable. What he wants above everything else is safety. It is hard to believe that a man is telling the truth when you know that you would lie if you were in his place. Every decent man is ashamed of the government he lives under. The only really happy folk are married women and single men. All men are frauds. The only difference between them is that some admit it. I myself deny it. An idealist is one who, on noticing that roses smell better than a cabbage, concludes that it will also make better soup. No one in this world, so far as I know, and I have searched the records for years, and employed agents to help me, has ever lost money by underestimating the intelligence of the great masses of the plain people. The basic fact about human existence is not that it is a tragedy, but that it is a bore. It is not so much a war as an endless standing in line. A bad man is the sort who weeps every time he speaks of a good woman. Criticism is prejudice made plausible. Man is always looking for someone to boast to, woman is always looking for a shoulder to put her head on. Democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want, and deserve to get it good and hard. We are here and it is now. Further than that, all human knowledge is moonshine. If, after I depart this vale, you ever remember me and have thought to please my ghost, forgive some sinner and wink your eye at some homely girl. Honor is simply the morality of superior men. I believe that it is better to tell the truth than a lie. I believe it is better to be free than to be a slave. And I believe it is better to know than to be ignorant. On some great and glorious day the plain folks of the land will reach their heart's desire at last, and the White House will be adorned by a downright moron. A man may be a fool and not know it, but not if he is married. Love is the delusion that one woman differs from another. A cynic is a man who, when he smells flowers, looks around for a coffin. Bachelors know more about women than married men. If they didn't, they'd be married too. The older I grow, the more I distrust the familiar doctrine that age brings wisdom. Life is a constant oscillation between the sharp horns of dilemmas. Democracy is a pathetic belief in the collective wisdom of individual ignorance. The worst government is often the most moral. One composed of cynics is often very tolerant and humane. But when fanatics are on top, there is no limit to oppression. I believe that all government is evil, and that trying to improve it is largely a waste of time. A national political campaign is better than the best circus ever heard of, with a mass baptism and a couple of hangings thrown in. Most people want security in this world, not liberty. A newspaper is a device for making the ignorant more ignorant and the crazy crazier. We must be willing to pay a price for freedom. If a politician found he had cannibals among his constituents, he would promise them missionaries for dinner. A good politician is quite as unthinkable as an honest burglar. Faith may be defined briefly as an illogical belief in the occurrence of the improbable. Democracy is also a form of worship. It is the worship of jackals by jackasses. It doesn't take a majority to make a rebellion, it takes only a few determined leaders and a sound cause. Don't overestimate the decency of the human race. Temptation is a woman's weapon and man's excuse. As the arteries grow hard, the heart grows soft. The difference between a moral man and a man of honor is that the latter regrets a discreditable act, even when it has worked and he has not been caught. I hate all sports as rabidly as a person who likes sports hates common sense. Say what you will about the 10 Commandments, you must always come back to the pleasant fact that there are only 10 of them. For it is mutual trust, even more than mutual interest, that holds human associations together. Our friends seldom profit us, but they make us feel safe. Marriage is a scheme to accomplish exactly that same end. A prohibitionist is the sort of man one couldn't care to drink with, even if he drank. A Sunday school is a prison in which children do penance for the evil conscience of their parents. To be in love is merely to be in a state of perceptual anesthesia, to mistake an ordinary young woman for a goddess. Life is a dead-end street.